Hello, friends, and welcome to the most glorious of events, the Movie Mavericks podcast. This outstanding program is hosted by two fine gentlemen, Jason and Trevor. Now make it so.
MovieMavericks.com.
Hey now everyone, welcome to episode 409 of the Movie Mavericks podcast. I'm Trevor Anderson, so you have Jason Rugard. He's got a rundown for us.
On tonight's episode, we are going to be reviewing Love Hurts. We are going to talk about Electric State, that ultra-budgeted Netflix film out there. What else you seen there, Trevor? I forgot what you even told me.
Captain America, Hard Eyes.
How did I forget about Brave New World?
It's easy, believe me. And Hard Eyes. Hard Eyes.
Hard Eyes, which was a bit of a box office success story earlier this year when it had a second week that did better than its first week. So I'm curious to know if that was just a fluke or what's going on there. Do we have a possible franchise launching? We'll get into that, as well as trailers for Lilo and Stitch. Is it Lilo or Lilo? I never got this one
Lilo.
right.
I always thought it was Lilo.
Is it Lilo? Okay, Lilo and Stitch.
Pretty sure.
Live action. After the dreadful live action Snow White fiasco that's been going on, they are now particularly correcting the ship, it looks like, with this one. But we'll get into that, as well as Rust, the trailer for the the infamous Alec Baldwin film that you all know the history of on that. And we will talk about A Clown in the Cornfield from the director of Tucker and Dave Meet Evil. So a lot of fun things to go over tonight. But first, let's do some trivia.
This one's right up your alley. Miami Vice star Don Johnson gets to display his acting talent in this strange apocalyptic Harlan Ellison adaptation. Death Race 2000, The Road Warrior, A Boy and His Dog, or The Postman?
It's A Boy and His Dog, right?
Yes, it is. Yay.
I've never seen that film. I know you have.
Good movie.
Who is he in that film? Is he the boy? Because he would have been young in that movie, right? That'd been like the 70s?
Yeah, he's the boy.
Oh, is he the boy? Okay, interesting. Maybe I will watch that.
And his dog is a telepathic dog.
Jesus. Maybe I won't watch this movie.
Oh, come on. It's a great post-apocalyptic movie.
I'm taking your word on that one.
I like that movie. All right. Whose autobiography is titled An Actor's Life? That's hard. Glenn Ford, Charlton Heston, Spencer Tracy, or William Holden? I don't even know. An actor's life? That could be anybody.
I mean, what a fucking generic title
Wow.
that is, too.
Yeah.
And you really should have fired your editor and your publisher. I'm going to go with Glenn Ford because it sounds so mundane. It sounds like a Glenn Ford movie.
No. 'Twas Charlton Heston.
Can I tell you the story that I was told by a guy who was a PA on a film called The Mountain Men that he did in 1980? And this guy, a friend of mine, who's an older gentleman now, but at the time he was going to USC and he was doing intern stuff, and he was a huge Charlton Heston fan. And he said during the making of that movie, he was so distraught to see his hero lying on a mattress between takes because he had a bad back. And I guess he would basically just get propped up and do a scene and then like lay back down on a mattress. So this virile man was reduced to just laying on a mattress between takes.
Even when he was younger, he always had that old look.
He had awkward limbs to me. He moved his limbs bizarrely.
Like an old man.
But Clint Eastwood has awkward limbs too, but he is more athletic with it than Heston was to me.
Heston has like a weird, like a broadly odd chest, and it like makes his like arms. I don't know.
He obviously iconic to the end, but not
Great
my
actor.
favorite actor.
No,
Are you a
I like
Heston
Charlton
fan?
Heston a lot. Yeah.
Outside of the Planet of the Apes movies,
Planet of the Apes is great. Obviously,
Ben-Hur, Moses.
Right, Ben-Hur, Moses, and
Ten
he's very good in
Commandments.
both those. But the vampire one, I can't remember. I Am Legend. What the hell is his one?
Oh, Omega Man.
Omega Man's fantastic.
It is pretty good. I got to give you that
And I'm sure
one.
I can think of
I
other
forgot
things.
about that one.
If I look through his filmography, I'd be able to remember stuff. I like him. I liked him a lot. Oh, Soylent Green.
What about the horror movie
like
he did? God, there was a terrible one he did in the early 80s. Fucking awful. It was like a throwback to the Hammer horror films, and it was just outdated and terrible. I want to say it was like a mummy cursing, The Haunting maybe, or... I know I have access to the internet in front of me, but I refuse to use it. We're gonna pretend like it's 1986 right now. We'll just let it be. You guys, if you are out there listening, you figure it out. All right, let's move on a little bit. I want to talk to you about two losses that we had this week. One is a little bit more in the film world, and one is film world adjacent. One is Richard Norton. I texted you this the other night with that Robert Patrick doing his eulogy online to Richard Norton, and this is the Australian action star, a really interesting screen presence, who I always felt like they were using him as direct inspiration for the guy in The Critic, the action star.
The Australian guy?
The Australian guy.
Who's clearly supposed to be like a Schwarzenegger /
Van Damme-ish kind of guy.
It's kind of a mix of everything, yeah.
Vince Seagal with the hair. But, I mean, if you think about it, Richard Norton would have been the epitome of that character with his long, slender physique and his kind of
he was
good-naturedness.
supposed to be like a B movie guy, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was fantastic in some of these B Hong Kong films that are just like his athleticism is crazy.
Of course, often with Cynthia Rothrock.
Yes, exactly right.
I actually just watched...
Which one?
The train one. The hell am I thinking of?
Oh, that's a good one. We watched recently. We watched the Alien one, and it was awful.
Which one's the Alien one?
Oh, you know where they get it's like ET. You own the fucking 4K. Cynthia Rothrock, Richard Norton.
Oh, right, the Magic Crystal.
There you go.
Right, you're right.
That's almost unwatchable. That one.
I was thinking of of something else, I guess.
They've done a slew of movies together, and he was end up like stunt coordinating on Mad Max and working with Zack Snyder. So he was still working in the film world up until
all the way up to everything.
He was also on podcasts recently.
He was just in a movie, I thought a couple years ago.
Yeah, he looked good. So
yeah.
You just never know. They haven't released what exactly happened to him, but it's a shame and a loss to the film world for sure.
I will recommend for anyone that likes really B sci-fi, and I'm talking real B sci-fi.
What do you got?
Hyperspace.
Hyperspace.
I love Hyperspace. I've had the DVD of Hyperspace for fucking ever, and it has been
Richard
something
Norton?
I've watched. It's Richard Norton. Yeah, that's why that's my whole point of saying that, and it's classic Richard Norton. It's like in his prime. It's like 89.
Ooh, I'll give you one. I'll see Hyperspace, and I will give you another one out there if you are so in the mood. Equalizer 2000, which was referenced by Robert Patrick in that post, which is one of these Filipino Mad Max ripoffs that was shot in a rock quarry. Terrible, but fun.
Right.
And he's the man in it, and he totes a big gun, and he says very little, and he kicks a lot of ass. So highly recommend that too. But I'm going to check out Hyperspace because I have not seen that.
Well, I mean, do and don't. Do it on your own. Well, if you like really B horror movies.
Do you know which really B horror movie I've always seen because it must be in the public domain over the years, but I never actually watched, and then I tried to watch it and it was so fucking awful, is a Jesse Ventura movie called like Galactica or something. Galaxic or something like that.
What is it called? I mean, it is public domain, right? It's in a lot of, it's I want to say anaphylactic, but that's not what it is.
Damn near put me in that kind of shock.
It's Anaxis. What the fuck is it?
Yes, it's something like remember. That. It's like Baraxis. Once again, we have the internet in front of us, but refuse to use it.
I can see the silver, like, Xanadu-esque type fucking
You're exactly
font,
right.
like,
You're
logo
right there.
thing of what it is. I just can't remember what the hell it's called.
It's like a Baraxis or something like that.
A Boy and His Dog is also public domain. That helps.
I would rather watch that than this Jesse Ventura film.
What is that movie called? I want to say it just came out on. They just did a new transfer of it in Shout Factory. I think released it on Blu-ray.
No, they didn't. They would. Those whores.
Yeah, they were like $30. I was like, in what world? Where they basically give me this movie to wipe my ass with? Do I pay $30 for a fucking Blu-ray? This is a movie that if you own sets of movies that they'll just throw into. I probably own this movie several times over because it's just in sets of sci-fi shit.
It's like Cold Sweat, the Charles Bronson film. It's like a 10-pack of action films. It's going to be one of them.
Abraxas. That's what it is.
There you go. I was close there. I might even have said it. That piece of shit is all. It should never be viewed. So it's hard. I get burned on these B sci-fi movies, and you never know. But apparently, Hyperspace is going to be a good one. You say?
Hey, if you like B movie stuff, if you like things like Supernova, but obviously way more B movie in the 80s. Instead of 90s.
Who the fuck really likes Supernova, though?
Nobody, but it's just that B movie. Well, I mean, if you rented it on VHS back in the day or whatever, it's a fine watch. It's an interesting movie. It's also sci-fi. That's sci-fi, though. There's a lot of weird sci-fi and sci-fi that's just okay. The thing about Hyperspace that makes it so good and has always remained the reason I watch it is fucking Richard Norton. He's great in it.
To be fair, he's good in most of the movies that he's in, even when they're not very good movies.
Yeah, it's the charisma and shit.
There's one called Kick Fighter that might be it's a step above a snuff film or a porn. I'm not sure which one, but they force him to play like a 15-year-old version of himself who kills a man accidentally and gets thrown into Thai prison. And there's a scene where he's screaming no as these guys encroach on him, and you don't know if they're going to beat him up or rape him, and they just cut to like 30 years later when he gets out of prison hardened. It's still one of the strangest fucking movies I've ever seen, but he's good in it. So even when it's a movie that was shot on $12, he manages to put his time and effort into it.
That movie, I'm not sure if that movie is a public domain or not, but I do know that Troma did a release of The Kick Fighter.
It's fucking awful. Awful movie. I mean, awful and worth watching for aficionados. Right. I was thinking about that the other day as I was scrolling through the racks of VHSs at the secondhand store, was thinking you had to have your guard up back in the day because they would try to trick you even back then to renting an Abraxas or something that was in the public domain that they had sexied up with a new box, or whatever your second pick was that wasn't going to be off the new release wall. So
before they were putting these in the 99-cent store, because that's where a lot of the shit was, in cardboard sleeves. Remember those?
Gas stations.
And gas stations and stuff. But that was DVD. But they did this with VHS, of course, as well.
I remember these at your Target or Payless drug stores, and they would have Star Maker VHS, those kind of media entertainment, when you'd get these tapes that were light as helium that had movies on them.
Media's pretty good. Awesome, though.
It was weird.
Had good covers.
Sometimes they would have real releases and then like an EP
like Good
release.
Times and stuff would sometimes have fucking sick boxes and shit. You'd be like, but you pick it up and like you say, it's like you can tell. Actually, a lot of the Good Times stuff, when you slide it out, just has like a label that says Good Times, and it has like the lines that they just write in, like what the movie is. You're like, what the fuck?
There's like barely any tape there. It was like a VHS head cleaning tape.
There's just like a dude. Yeah, there's just like a dude press play, presses record, like writes on the thing on the tape, puts it. Here you go.
There's a fucking Toyota sales of the month, 1987, fourth quarter goals tape. Somebody recorded over it on movie.
Yeah, and it's not just like, I love those tapes because it's not just that the tape is small; the reels are huge.
Why was that always? They're massive. It looked like it looked like a ferry on the Mississippi.
You look at some of those, like, where's the fucking tape?
Not to be found. It's all white plastic in there.
Fat reel in there. It's like 80% real. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it has a 90-minute movie exist on there, but it did somehow.
I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because maybe there's a reason, like a technical reason, like a weight reason. It's such a small amount of tape. I don't know. That's weird.
Well, the second loss we had this week was of boxer George Foreman. And I bring this up because his movie about his life came out about a year and a half ago. It also went under the radar. Did you ever watch it? It's on Netflix right now.
No.
It's really good. And I was surprised at how good it was because I thought I knew this story. And it reminded me a lot of that Father Stew, which was also good. But this was better than that Hands of Stone movie they did, and a little bit better than Father Stew. And I was just surprised that it didn't get any sort of audience reaction whatsoever, and it's kind of come and gone unnoticed. So I just wanted to bring up that his passing led me to want to tell you guys to watch the big George Foreman movie if you get a chance, because it's really, really well done.
Where's that? Where's it on?
Netflix right now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Sony release, so at least in the United States, that's where they're outputting all their movies right now, is on Netflix rather quickly as well.
That's how it goes, right?
It just seems it's even quicker than most. I mean, Den of Thieves was just in theaters, I thought, like 3 weeks ago, and it's on there.
That's not even uncommon, right? Universal's doing that. Who else is doing that? I mean, we're talking weeks, literally weeks, 2 weeks. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, if you go to Fandango or whatever, iTunes, and you go to buy some of these movies, it'll tell you like releases in 14 days. And you're like, well, why am I going to go fucking... Why would I go spend the money to go see it? This is just shooting yourself in the foot. So, all right, let's move on and talk about something. I want to tell you, I saw maybe the strangest, I don't know, the strangest movie I've ever seen, because I've seen some Gaspar Noé films, and a movie that's one of the oddest fucking feathered fish I've ever seen, and I need to talk to you about it. It's a movie with Stephen Baldwin, so you already know you're off on the wrong foot, right? It came out in 1995.
No. And I'm off on the right foot if it's got Stephen Baldwin in it.
I'd never fucking had heard of this movie. And I bring it up because I have been listening to One Bad Movie, his podcast. I don't know if you listen to that or watch the clips, but he just had Alec Baldwin on, and they're releasing clips here and there, and it's pretty entertaining. But Stephen Baldwin has said that he thinks his bad movie or his worst movie is something called A Shark in Venice, a sci-fi channel movie, which now I need to watch because he said it, because it can't be worse than this piece of shit. Let me tell you about this movie called Under the Hula Moon. You ever heard of it? Do you own it?
No. I don't know what the hell that is.
It stars Stephen Baldwin, Emily Lloyd, Chris Penn is in this movie. There is a girl in it who was in Buffy, Marusa Veneta or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about? No. She was in a lot of shit. Anyways, this is like prime post Pulp Fiction, where everybody's quirky and all sorts of random shit happens. And this is tonally the most fucking bizarre movie I've ever seen. I'll just say it's a crime thriller along the lines of Raising Arizona meets Pulp Fiction, but the main character is obsessed with Hawaii and speaks to the King Kamakamuli in the sky while Chris Penn's an escaped convict trying to... It's available on YouTube. It's got to be a VHS rip, and I watched it the other night. Don't ask me why or how it started, but I just started watching this fucking thing, and it was so bizarre I couldn't stop watching it because I needed to know who funded this piece of shit, why they read the script and thought this was worth making, and then how they were going to pull off what they had started. So I just had to bring it up because it's one of the strangest fucking movies I've ever seen. It really is. Never heard of it, huh?
I'll have to watch it.
Under the Hulu.
No, I mean there's so many Baldwin movies that I haven't seen.
What about Dead Weekend?
I've not seen that either.
He plays a character named Weed. He's a futuristic cop. Gonna have to check. How did either of these not make his top worst movie list? I don't know.
Because he's got a lot.
Oh, he's got decades worth of bad movies.
That's what I know. So I don't know. He's never been cast in he's consistently cast in shit movies
for a long time, even when he had success. Because I'm looking at this and I go 95, and I look at the release date when it came. This is like his movie after The Usual Suspects, when you'd think his career would be ascending, and he's making this, and you think,
he's
wow,
doing that. I mean, Biodome.
This is how you end up in Biodome.
Yeah, right there. But that's his VHS era to me. Like when you went to VHS, when you went to the video store, there was Daniel Ball. It was everywhere.
Oh, well, yeah, Steven. He was in a lot of different genre films. And then come the Knots, he's in like every knockoff disaster movie there is, from solar fucking attacks to earthquake. I mean, he just was in all of these genre films.
Yeah. I mean, the Baldwins were, obviously Alec is the lucky one. Well, he's not lucky. He actually has the looks and the voice and stuff, and the others just didn't. They kind of resembled him.
They didn't break as wide, although they each had their own. I mean, well, at least William and Stephen.
But they don't have. But there was no way that they were gonna cash in on that, right? They didn't have the looks, and they weren't Alec, right? And so if you wanted a Baldwin, you would just get Alec. Otherwise, you would settle for one of the others.
I'll say this. I'll disagree with you and say that I think they both were still attractive guys, handsome men, but they weren't
not
dangerous.
Like him. Not like
Alec
him.
Baldwin has a danger to him. There is like a...
Well, he has a voice,
around
too. His
snake.
voice is very deep. He's very commanding. He has those piercing eyes, which the others do, too, but their faces aren't...
Right.
They're not
as menacing.
they just aren't as good looking. They're not as good looking as Alec. They're not. That's not that they're ugly, but they're not as good looking.
I do like some Stephen Baldwin, though, so I think I might follow down the rabbit hole and watch a couple
all
more
of them.
these.
I like Billy. I like Stephen.
No Daniel? You're not going to give Daniel?
I like Daniel.
Give Daniel love.
Daniel's rough.
I want to know if there was ever a time when like the Sheen Estevezes met up to fight the Baldwins. You know what I mean? Was there like a Hollywood showdown in 1991? I'd love to have thought that.
Like a showdown at the OK Corral there.
We're at the Charlie Sheen Mansion. All right, let's talk about movies here. What are your thoughts on The Electric State? Because my thoughts are the state of Netflix is got to be hot. I mean, their stock must be through the fucking roof again, because if they're blowing $1/3 billion on something like this. I'll let you review it, then I'll get into it. The budget shouldn't be part of the review, but it is. $320 million
Well,
movie.
they have positive cash flow and they have a lot of debt. So, but that gets you this, right? The Electric State, which is, I guess this is based on a book. I'm not sure. I don't know. But look, I really thought that the premise of this I thought was pretty good. And I liked the idea of what they were trying to do with it. But overall, this movie's fucking boring. Chris Pratt is like just in it. He's not even the main character. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. Millie Bobby Brown makes no sense. Her character makes no sense. Like why is the brother, she's like his mom? It doesn't make any sense. She's just his sister. Why is she acting like his mom's the whole fucking movie? You know, and then the kid's a robot, but he's not. I just thought, I don't know. It gets wildly off track towards the end, and it doesn't make any sense as well. So there you go. That's my review. I thought it stunk pretty much. It could have been way better, especially with the premise, and it was a lot of fun. I like the Mr. Peanut stuff. I like that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. As far as the world goes, I thought it was interesting, but the characters stunk.
It also didn't have an edge at all on any. I thought it would either
a little bit. I thought the Mr. Peanut stuff, like that kind of thing, when they got into the across the wall or whatever. I don't know. The world wasn't really big enough. It didn't make a lot of sense. But
why is Chris Pratt in this movie though? I like Chris Pratt a lot, but why was he cast in this role? Why is this character?
I don't know.
I'm
he feels second to this. Like there's moments, right, when he's saying his lines and stuff, and you're like, does he know he's not the main character?
Because I want to go with him though. Like I'd rather be hanging out with the fucking Chris Pratt character.
Millie Bobby Brown has no screen presence in this. I like at all.
You think she does otherwise? Are you of the notion? I mean, are you a fan of?
No, I haven't really liked. I mean, I like whatever the Stranger Things stuff. I like that, but I've never seen her in anything yet that I really liked, and I don't think that her sensibilities as far as roles go are very good.
This wasn't anything other than a deal that was put together with Netflix talent already. That people
Russo
had
brothers, Millie Bobby Brown, Chris Pratt basically is just willing to do anything.
He's the Ryan Reynolds of this. I mean, Ryan Reynolds, Chris Evans, Chris Pratt. These guys are floating from one streamer to the other, picking up the easy paycheck, and making unmemorable shit in a lot of ways. This is a $300 million movie that is it's hard for me to recall specific scenes I even liked from this, and I watched it less than 2 weeks ago. That's fucking sad.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, the thing I remember most is the Mr. Peanut and Chris Pratt's mustache. I think that's the most things that stand out in my mind here. And the fact that I cannot stand that actress any longer. I find her line readings to be disingenuous and bratty. I can't. She's just nails on a chalkboard for me. She's one of my least favorite young actresses out there. Did you think that she gave a decent performance here, or did you think that she just read lines and picked up a paycheck? Well,
I thought the character was written poorly to begin with, especially for that to be, the key to the entire fucking movie, really. Which I won't ruin, but it's her relationship with the brother, right? Basically,
right,
is the entire point of the movie. It's the emotional peg in this whole of a fucking movie. No, I thought she was bad in this. Like I said, I haven't seen her in anything where, and I think a lot of this has to do with the role she picks as well. She wants to be, she's a young woman, and she wants to be seen as tough and this and that. And so I don't really like the portrayal. I guess I just agree with you. I don't really like her acting.
She kind of reminds me of Shailene Woodley. Remember that girl?
Shailene Woodley. I like her a lot, though.
But then again, was trying to play too tough, too quick, and now where is she? And nobody bought it. There has to be a transition into this stuff.
I don't think she was going to ever be big.
Well, she thought she was the next Julia Roberts.
I would say that. I don't know what else was she in. She was just in those. She was much like a Jennifer Lawrence. Where's Jennifer Lawrence now? Right. I would ask this question about all of them, even the big ones. What's her name? The Twilight girl. They're all gone. Right. And I think it's the same issue as what Millie Bobby Brown has here, where they're just not picking good roles. They're picking strong female roles, but it's the wrong strength, They're not picking female roles, I guess is what I would say. I don't know.
Electric State, worth skipping, though, both of our opinions.
Yeah.
All right, let me tell you about Love Hurts. This is an action film that came out on Valentine's Day weekend from the makers of John Wick, kind of. They're producers on this, and one of their stunt guys is getting his directing debut. I actually think he may have done Nobody, but the movie is directed fine. It's written fine. It's a scant 85 minutes long. It moves well enough. But when this whole every guy can do anything, is the killer didn't know. I mean, the best version of this is A History of Violence, right? The really serious version of it, the Viggo Mortensen film, because that's kind of what these all are, is the guy who's awakened.
Is, where they don't... Oh.
He's a real estate agent, a ne'er-do-well. He gets picked on a lot.
Or something?
And
like one of those?
His ex-love
is a sleeper agent or whatever. It's that.
Kind of. It's more of just he's thrust back into this crazy situation where he's an ultimate badass already, and you're like, he's athletic enough and he's doing these moves, and you start. But then so does Bob Odenkirk, and I'm like, this isn't becoming special anymore. And I know, I'm glad an action movie is out there. But who he's up against with Marshawn Lynch, the former Raiders running back, who's fucking awful as an actor. I don't know why he's in this movie other than stunt casting, but who are you going to... He has that big of an audience. You're going to draw him to this movie?
I don't think that... what's his name?
Ki Hung Kwai?
Yeah, Ki Hung or Kwai. Short round, I guess, as well, I'll just say. He's not good either. I don't like him as an actor. This is going to sound like a dick,
but... They make him say some things that aren't advantageous to the way he speaks, so it comes out very garbled, and the whole thing already feels amateurish because of that. So, and also, I agree. Sean Astin has a cameo in this, so they reunite two Goonies, and Sean Astin looks like he's eaten 3 or 4 hobbits.
He is enormous.
I don't understand what happened. The man needs to get his blood fucking pressure checked or something. I don't know. Anyways, he's turned into Steven Seagal in this. And the whole novelty of you have 2 Goonies hugging each other was like, this is what we're doing here. And the action is shot nicely as it's supposed to be. But I just kept feeling like you're wasting some of these cool ideas in a movie that fucking is just a fart. It's just a cinematic fart. It's here. It entertains you for 80 minutes. And it's gone. It's never going to produce a sequel. It's not going to produce an action franchise or a hero out of this Ki Hong Kwan. So, why? And there's no reason to justify his existence. So,
yeah, just because of the Academy Awards, right?
Yeah, because he's an Academy Award winner, and isn't it funny to put him into an action film?
But that's why this movie exists, right?
Well, his co-star is the girl who won the Academy Award for West Side Story a few years ago too. So now we have 2 Oscar winners.
So now you know exactly what movie exists.
Against Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Fucking awful. All right, one of the worst movies of the year so far as I'm concerned. What do you got? What do you see next?
What do you want me to talk about here? Captain America. I've also seen Companion. If you want to hear about that.
No, I want to hear about Cap.
Hard Eyes. Captain America. It's so freaking boring, man. I mean, honestly, no character that's interesting at all. Straight to the point. You know exactly what's going to happen in it. There's no surprises. It is absolutely ridiculous. The fighting in it is just stupid. Yeah, one of the worst superhero movies I've seen.
Really? Were you following Falcon Winter Soldier, the TV show, at all?
No, I couldn't. I made it halfway through that show before I stopped watching. And I haven't watched any of the Marvel shows other than, like I watched Hawkeye and I watched Loki, which I didn't watched last season Loki. I don't care anymore about Marvel stuff. And this is a good reason why, because it's just filler. Like straight up just filler. There's no meat on this bone at all. It's not good. Really, really bad.
How long? It's not even over 2 hours, right? It's like a normal running length, and it feels
it's 2 hours, and it feels like it feels long. Like I said, because it's boring. There's nothing happening in this. He's just Harrison Ford. He just goes, "I'm Harrison Ford."
So he's grumpy and
cool.
Stumbling about.
Like he does nothing for anybody. The Red Hulk is stupid. The whole thing's just dumb. Honestly, I don't know. I don't really understand it because he's not even. He's not even Captain America in this. And it's like if he's going to be Captain America, he should just be Captain America. But it feels like he just still feels like someone who's just holding the shield.
Well,
I don't know.
Wasn't that the character's dilemma the whole time, that he was trying to get past that? And
I guess so, but my point is that they shouldn't do that. I think that's boring as fuck. Just become Captain America. If you're going to play this out like that, it's just, I don't give a fuck. Like, you're just wasting my time. Like, you just become Captain America. Tim Blake Nelson is fucking ridiculous.
Oh. So this is a sequel basically to The Incredible Hulk, that Edward Norton movie? Wasn't he the bad guy in that? That was Tim Roth. Sorry. Different fucking... I don't know. Different indie actor getting a paycheck from Marvel. So skip Captain America is what you're saying, ultimately, I'm hearing?
Yeah, there's no one cool in this. I mean, I don't know. The actors are fine, I guess, but it's just a stupid storyline. Like the Harrison Ford's part is also stupid, and he's the Red Hulk, and you're like, yeah, no shit, right? Because it gives it away. Like the whole fucking movie is just, everything is given away. It's just exactly as you would think it would be, and it's kind of just boring. I guess. I don't know.
So is it a situation of them dropping the ball, or if this had been released 15 years ago, this would have been a hit?
Oh, no, this would not have been a hit. This would have been a stumble. Even, if this came out like phase 2 or something, and it kind of feels like one of those stumbled phase 2 movies. It would have just, it would not have done well at all. Like at such case in point, like Age of Ultron, which did well, but still things were new. So I guess maybe you could say people would go see this back then because they wouldn't know any better. And they certainly wouldn't have seen so many fucking superhero movies at this point. Like, it's fine to skip one if you think it's not going to be very good.
Right.
Right. So yeah, I would just absolutely skip this and probably every fucking superhero movie from here on out.
That's a rough review. That's especially with Superman and Fantastic Four both looking to right the ship again with the genre, but I don't know
they
if
just
either
look like the same old thing, I mean, I need something. I need something better. I need an actual superhero again, and not a superhero story that I've already heard, that I've already been told. I need a new superhero.
Yeah, just retrofitted for modern audiences. Yeah. What did I see? Oh, I've seen, you know what? I just said Love Hurts was one of the worst movies of the year. I have something that surpasses it. A movie called One of Them Days. You know about this movie?
No.
Okay. So this is a quote unquote urban comedy, from the writers of Insecure, Isla Rae, starring Keke Palmer and the singer SZA. And this is basically Friday, which I love, the first Friday. I'm a huge fan of that movie from the day I saw it. And gender swaps them and is mean-spirited, to be honest with you. It's not very funny. It's mean-spirited and is basically Friday for 25 years down the line. And this movie did very well at the box office. Opened up in the number one spot at 11 million sometime in January, and legged out to like 50 million on word of mouth. And obviously, I'm not the core audience demographic here, but
this was the comedy or whatever.
Yeah, I can appreciate a good comedy, but this is as mean spirited as an
really?
action film in a lot of ways. Man, this is not This is not look, in Friday, they were dealing with some real shit in there, but it never felt mean-spirited. I can't explain. If you watch this movie and you go back and watch Friday, you'll see what they were trying to get at here. It's compressed into basically a day. There's outside threats. There's political, social, economic things they got to get through. There's all sorts of shit going on in this movie, what they're trying to do here. But it ultimately left me kind of depressed after I watched this. I felt bad for these characters and what they were going through. I wasn't laughing with them. I was kind of pitying them as I watched this thing play out. So maybe I was just in the wrong headspace for it. I don't know. But to me, this is mystifying that this made the money it did. You thought it was more of a drama. With one or two rewrites, this could have been a serious fucking drama. And then and there's a clever little, the way that the bad guy gets caught up. It's kind of clever, but it was not funny. That was my problem. This is a so-called comedy.
You mentioned Friday. Some of what works in Friday is just the ambiance of that, like the way it's shot, the way it looks, and how the characters interact and react to things. But you're saying this is totally serious in this all the time?
No, because it's the same. They're going for that. So there is interaction. Okay. They're playing off each other. But you know what happens in Friday?
Serious things are happening, but they're happening in a world that's clearly, sunshiny, even though things aren't. Yeah, it's too.
That. Friday is more of like a quote unquote hood fairy tale, if you will.
Right.
This is. I felt like fucking Uncut Gems at some point. I felt like, Jesus, these people's lives are on the line. So you got people chasing with guns and shit. Like, what are we in a shootout? Like, what's happening here? And I don't remember ever a time when Ice Cube and Chris Tucker were telling each other fuck you and walking off in different directions. Like, they were in it together, even though they were mad at each other at times. They never fully broke apart. And in this movie, that happens one or two times, and you're just like, who are these people to each other? If they seem like they're not helping each other. I don't know.
It's a little too flippant as far as
I guess
we're enemies. We're
hit
friends.
Me very wrongly. I think because I went back and revisited Friday and Next Friday recently, and I saw what they were trying to do here 30 years after the original Friday, and putting two females in the lead and having a few different obstacles for them to overcome. But ultimately, it's pretty much the same shit, just more downbeat and mean-spirited. Once again, so a terrible movie. Stay away from it. It just came out on Netflix. I think today they dropped it as well. So it's out there for you to submit yourself to.
I'm okay.
Tell me about Heart Eyes. I was very curious about this because they were talking about possible franchise starter. Do we have another Scream on our hands?
I guess this is one of those brain dead fucking slashers I've seen in a long time. I called this shit. It's fucking obvious who the killer is and everything. At least I thought. And it's just dumb. This movie is called Hard Eyes as a Hard Eyes killer, but there's no lore. Like, the lore sucks. Hard Eyes killer is just a killer who has hard eyes, and he kills lovers on Valentine's Day. And that's it. There's nothing else. That's it. So it's like, well, you're going to present this guy as like a Michael Myers, as Freddy Krueger, as a Jason,
like the ultimate evil, but he only strikes one night a year.
But I don't know anything about him. He has no past. He has no. Why does he exist? Doesn't say. Doesn't know. That's because. Now, it's because it's trying to be very Scream-like, and it waits till the end to do this, what it thinks is some reveal. And it's not a reveal. It's fucking stupid. It's really one of the worst, reveal things I've ever seen. And I guess you could continue this on, and just make another one of these, which I guess would be like Scream, because that's what Scream did. But there's just no intelligence in this, whereas Scream at least had some intelligence. And I also thought the kills were fucking lame. Like, it starts off with a pretty good kill, and then it just devolves into nothing. It's also a very weird romantic comedy date movie that's like in the middle of this.
What?
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And I just didn't understand. I didn't understand what the hell this movie's doing, because it's a killer movie, and then all of a sudden these people are on a date. And then they're falling in love, this and that and the other thing. And, of course, the hard-eyed killer then notices them and wants to kill them because they're dating, but they're not really dating. I thought this was the one funny part of this whole movie was he's coming after him. The girl's like, wait, you wait. She's like, tells the guy, like, hold on. And she turns to the heart. She's like, you can't kill us because we're not dating. Like, you only kill people who are dating. We're not dating. And I thought that was the one clever moment of this whole movie. And then the hard-eyed killer is like, stops for a second and is like, nah, fuck it. I'm going to kill you anyway.
Yeah, she's using his logic against him, right?
But I thought that was kind of clever. But other than that, the characters who are being stalked by Hard Eyes, these two, this girl and this guy, I don't even know the actors' names. But they're like on a date the whole fucking movie. It's weird. Like they're being stalked by the Hard Eyes, but they're like falling in love as well. Like this movie's retarded.
So this movie takes place on one night?
No, it takes place over, well, it's Valentine's Day, right? So there's like a killing before, and then they go on a date, and then it's Valentine's Day the next day, I think, and they meet up again. Like they go on a date, which goes wrong, and then she's at work, finds out that he's also works there. I can't exactly remember, but they basically throws them back together again, and they've had a bad date, now it's Valentine's Day and Hard Eyes is out striking, and they're together, and so Hard Eyes is like, oh, or
I thought
they go on a date. I can't.
The killer
remember now.
looked cool, at least, like with that neon heart eyes, and that kind of looked cool in the trailer. No,
yes, which is great, but again, there's no lore to it. Why does he exist? What's the look for? Where does that come from? Every other character, it feels like has some lore to it. Just I don't know. There's something about I want a backstory. Yeah. I want a reason. I want a reason. I don't want to hear the movie go, we just doesn't know. Or it just doesn't know. This just happens. And you're like, well, why? Don't know. Just does. Like, wait till the ending and I'll tell you why. And you're like, well,
and then you'll forget most of your questions.
Guess you can guess who the killer, you can easily guess at least who the killer is. I don't want to give it away because I guess there is more to it than just that, but it's fucking so obvious, believe me.
That wasn't the case in the first Scream. If you watch that first Scream movie,
I know it's way more intelligent than this. That's what I'm talking about. This is hard. And the ending is just, like I say, the reveal is just, they think it's fucking glorious. You can tell. Just as if like we've made a Scream movie, we really got you. It's like, no, you didn't.
Like I said, the reveal at the final scene of Scream 1 was something to behold because it really did fuck you over when both those dudes were in on it because you kept thinking there's no way
and that movie
any of these characters logically could have done it. In a way that made sense, though. I don't know. This movie there's no build really to this. It just happens. It just exists. Like there's no, I don't know. I just didn't like it's not as good as Scream by any means. I guess you could make another one because it's just as if, just like Scream, you could just make another one of these. Right. Well, we did.
Because anyone can be the killer.
We got that in Urban Legends. We got that in I Know What You Did Last Summer. I mean, it was one of those.
Well, those are just slasher movies, but I mean, I agree to an extent, but at least those movies did try to have some sort of lore to them, even if it was dog shit. This movie just doesn't. This movie has none. It just
even
happens.
A terrible slasher movie like Valentine had lore to it. David
or something.
Film.
That's just how, and that was always when I was a kid. At least I always thought that made them a lot more scary, right? When there was a past, when you knew like why the killer, like the killer was, it was like Candyman or whatever, right? Like there's a reason that they are evil. There is a reason that they're out for revenge, or there's something to the story, right? That makes it like, oh, that dude's gonna fucking get you. Not just like there's a guy that kills people. Okay,
bro. The reveal in Nightmare on Elm Street 3 when he's the son of 1,000 maniacs. And the nun gets I mean, that shit is like, that's iconic myth building right there, for
that's what
a character.
I mean, right? And you want to create like a, there's a reason they call like Michael Myers the figure, right? But it's important to, if you're going to create something, or the shadow, I should say, there's something, if you're going to create something, you have something to fall back. I don't know, that it's just more than just a person. It's not interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm curious though, because it got such a bump on that second weekend, but it makes sense if it was a romantic comedy and a horror film on Valentine's Day weekend.
I think it's really easy to watch for a lot of people who don't normally watch slasher movies, because it does have that, irreverence to it all, where you get the feeling, oh, everything's going to be okay, So
well, to be fair, some people need an entry-level horror film, and this might be somebody's entry level.
So that's what I'm saying. It's very safe, It's not. It's just not that scary, and the kills are gory. It's not like it doesn't have gore or anything. They're just not very cool, I guess.
Well, that was always kind of the thing, right? Is you wanted a movie that wasn't too over the line horror, but something that was scary enough so that it was a good date night pick, but wasn't going to ruin your night, like
exactly.
Terrifier 3 or something.
Yeah, that would be the Terrifier movies would be way too much. Yeah.
You ain't getting laid after that movie, I don't think, unless you're dealing with a real fucking freak.
I'm not talking about that, but there were no other, like, I can't think of any other outside of slasher movies, true slasher movies, right? There would be anything like this. It would be like a date night movie thing, at all. I don't know.
Now let's talk about trailers now. We've talked about some movies. Let's talk about the upcoming stuff that we can be at the good, bad, and the indifferent here. Let's first talk about Lilo. We're still trying to figure out how to say that one. And Stitch. This is the live-action Disney remake of their beloved classic that I want to say came out in 2002. So it seems like it's a little soon to be remaking this, but this is, I think, going to do very well because of a couple factors. One, this actually looks good. Two, it's got a Spielbergerian, I don't know how you spell that, like a Spielberg type vibe to this whole thing that I kind of enjoy. Mm-hmm. And it's not so old where these younger people wouldn't have grown up with this story. This is still a pretty vibrant property in the Disney library. I think they have like cartoon, like sub-cartoons and the daily television show. This is pretty active. It's not like Alice in Wonderland or Snow White or something like that. So I think this is going to right the ship for them in this live action department after some embarrassing stumbles with Little Mermaid and Snow White. And the last one that did well that I enjoyed was Aladdin. Did you see that one? Did you like Aladdin?
Aladdin's dog shit.
I liked Aladdin.
Get out of here.
I like Jungle Book. I like Aladdin. But they're few and far between.
Jungle Book sucks too. Almost all of them suck. There's really not many of them that actually really understand what even the hell they're doing, And this is the first one I would say that makes sense. This makes sense as a live action movie. And not only that, I don't know how this flew under the radar, because this feels like old Disney. This feels like it was made in the early 2000s. This has mass broad appeal, I think, age-wise, gender-wise. And I feel it's going to be a big hit.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think that I want to see this, to be honest with you. It feels like a family movie. It feels like a feel-good movie. It feels like a fun movie. I like the little Stitch character here, as far as being created, in real life, if you want to say that. And he's not animated anymore. Well, he is animated.
He's animated.
He's not 2D anymore, and I think he looks cool. To be honest with you, they nailed it right out of the gate. Unlike, I guess, Sonic. So I don't know. I think this is going to do pretty well, and it looks good. I like the trailer a lot.
When I was watching this trailer, and I say Spielberg once again, is because I kept thinking of Batteries Not Included, and I don't know why that movie kept popping in my head, but like the people that got the little secret that they're hiding, and it's just really
like E.T. and anything
sweet,
like that.
Yeah. And remember Mac and Me, something like that.
We have like a family, yeah.
It just this vibe, and it just felt very warm from the beginning, and I there's a warmness that's emanating from this, where a lot of this has felt cold and distant lately. So that's
why it feels like old Disney. Right, yeah. Where it's not here to tell you, hey, you should think like this, you should be like this. It's just to say, here's a family, and even, I mean, the line of the movie, whatever she says, what is it? Something means family. I don't know what the hell it was.
It just,
it's right there in the trailer, it's just, it makes you to go, oh, I know what this movie is. I know what it's going to feel like. As long as they don't sneak in some other weird shit into it, I think it'll be a huge hit.
It makes you wonder how they didn't get around to this one quicker, because it seems so ready for a live action remake, right?
Well, it's not as big as the other ones, right?
That's true.
It's just not as big as any of the other ones. So I think it makes sense, but I don't know. The other ones don't feel right. They feel like a cash grab, to be honest with you. And they feel like they're done by someone who's not Disney. It feels like they pawned it off to some other company almost. For even the Beauty and the Beast one, all of them feel off. They don't feel right. And this is the first one I've seen that I think, oh, that's Lilo and Stitch. That's just like that other fucking animated movie of it. This is the right way to do it.
I predict a big hit for this too. I think this comes out in Christmas time.
May.
Oh, there you go. May. Shit, even sooner. Well, this is fucking summertime release.
Well, I didn't catch why not at this point? Why not?
They need something to write the quarter after.
Well, it takes place in Hawaii, right, or whatever. So it's got to be like a summer. It would make sense.
It does make sense, but this kind of family film is often done around Christmas time as well. The big family film, like the Harry Potters.
But I don't think there's not a lot of competition. So
I guess Avatar would be around Christmas time. They probably want to stay away from that.
Oh, God.
For families. We got an Avatar movie coming this year.
For everybody.
You forgot about that, right? Your anticipation was so high. Nobody gives a fuck about a new Avatar movie coming out.
Why is it coming out? I didn't care about the last one, even though it was not bad, actually. But it's at the same time, it's like, oh, my God.
If I never saw another one again, I'd be okay. But I liked the last one. That's the strange part about it.
That's how I feel. I like the last one, but I still don't care. Like, I enjoyed the last one. I still don't care. So explain that to me. I don't know.
Well, because this one's going to be on the Fire Planet, my man. You haven't seen this yet.
Oh, God.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next we have Rust, Alec Baldwin's long-delayed film, and we all know what happened on the set. It's hard to shake that out of your head when you're watching this trailer, at least for me. But the trailer is a lot more intriguing than I would have expected from this kind of project. These low-budget Western movies are a subgenre all their own. Some are good when you got like The Old Way or Butcher's Crossing, the Nicolas Cage pair that are pretty good. And some you get with Casper Van Dien that are just shot on some fucking set somewhere. This looked like it's going to be a little bit more artistic and I guess darker than I had come to expect, but that could just be the way they're cutting this trailer, or because of the morbid curiosity that I'm bringing to it, I'm putting that on this movie. I don't know. Were you impressed by this trailer at all?
No.
No, really? You think it looks cheap?
This looks boring. It does look cheap, but it's not. I don't. They worked hard on this. Obviously, you can see it looks cheap, sure, but it also looks really good. Like they took their time to make it look good. The cinematography looks great. Again, I mean, how do you?
I know. I thought.
What do you do with that? You know, the best part of this movie is the cinematography. Ugh. The story here is just. I think it's going to be a shit. I think it's boring. Actually, the trailer does a horrible job of telling you the story, of laying it out. It's so long-winded. And in fact, if you go on IMDb and read the run-on fucking sentence that is the description of what this fucking movie is, this is just obviously it just doesn't sound interesting, right? You know, a kid who's accidentally killed some rancher guy, now he's going to get hung, but his grandpa shows up and then they go on the run. You think, okay, but where? What, that's it? That's the whole movie? I don't even get it. So it just feels too small to me and not very interesting. None of these characters stand out. You know, when you get a movie like this, a Western like this, anyhow, you typically have a character who's like a standout, right? Or something. It's like a down on his luck sharpshooter, or someone who's capable of doing something, but they're just unable to do it, or they don't want to do it, or something, you know. And this just doesn't feel like any of the characters. Like even the Alec Baldwin character, just you know, he's just kind of there.
Maybe it turns into Apocalypto in the West, where it's a chase film, but nothing stood out in terms of character to me. It doesn't seem like the visuals.
It seems like there's a lot happening in that town.
And it's a small town too. You can see it's shot on one of those backlot sets. Yeah. But it's going to be hard to shake the overall. And I don't know if I'm surprised this is going to get a release. I thought this would have been just shelved indefinitely. because there wasn't a big demand to see this in the first place. This wasn't like The Crow or something like that everybody knew about, had a star and actual backing behind it. This was kind of a low-budget deal. So I'm surprised they're showing it. Do you have a morbid curiosity to see it at all?
I don't know. I mean, if it was on, I might watch it. It's.
What do you mean on? There's no
Westerns.
on anymore. You have to put these things on now with streaming.
No, they just show up. Believe me, they just show up.
It appears in front of you. You'd look at it.
They just show up. Yeah, I might click play. If it showed up, but I don't think I would seek this out. It doesn't really. It just doesn't catch me. Is that interesting? And I've seen the trailer, so I get the morbid curiosity is already. I got it already. I'm satisfied. I've seen how good it looks, and I don't know. I'm good after that.
All right, well, the last thing we're talking about on tonight's show is the trailer for Clown in the Cornfield. This is more your area with the horror film stuff. I will say that this looks fun. I didn't want to like this trailer. In fact, I thought it looked pretty dumb until about a minute left in the trailer, and this fucking thing starts going ape shit, and people are having a good time. There's a clever line in there or two with the phone, not knowing how to work the phone in a time of need. And for me, this looked like maybe a pleasant surprise, and if it can be campy and fun, could be a perennial favorite. So what did you think here?
Yeah, I think this looks like a lot of fun as well, so I'm ready for it. I liked Tucker and Dale versus Evil. I like the Zombieland TV series thing. This guy did that as well. And so, yeah, I'm ready for it. But it does look super low budget and everything. And I do hope, just to stay consistent, I hope there's good lore.
Yeah, right. There you go. At least you're consistent.
I don't know. Well, with something like this, it looks like there's going to be lore actually already. There's a little bit of the trailer. You can see, yeah, there's going to be a story to it. They do mention things in the trailer as well already. So I think there's going to be a pretty good reason why this killer's out there. And I don't think it's just going to be because I'm a killer. Okay. Good for you.
Which is hard eyes, is what you're saying.
Yeah, just awful, right? I'm a killer. Yeah, okay, cool reveal. Really? You kill people? Do you really? Wow.
Oh, well, there's
awesome.
way more lore in this fucking first 30 seconds of this trailer than any of that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, they take like pains to explain who Friendo is, and I love that name already, Friendo.
Yeah.
So...
that's what I mean. So there's going to be some. They're holding it back, I think, at this point for this, but there's going to be something, and it looks like I like the phone gag and stuff, but then it also looks like perhaps they're in like the clown's like house-ish area or something. Maybe even at one point, like maybe that's like.
Oh, I didn't catch that. That's nice.
It's from around. I don't know. I couldn't. I'm not sure.
Oh, it's obviously an old house with that phone in it, though. That gag cracked me up.
Farmhouse or whatever.
Yeah. Looks fun, and I think that this could continue into, talk about sequel ready. This could be a whole series of films here with this multiple
clown in a wheat field.
Hey, there you go.
What kind of fields? Clown in a baseball
clown
field?
Clown in a snow maze.
Clown lost at the mall. I mean,
the possibilities are endless. We're giving away $1 million.
You do the weed one.
Oh, clown on the
cannabis
weed,
field?
in the weed.
A clown in the weeds.
Let me tell you what, I don't fuck with escape rooms or any of that kind of stuff because, like, I don't do corn mazes. I don't do, so, like, this already is a creepy idea to me because I get fucking lost in corn mazes and get irritated and I don't fucking deal well with this kind of stuff. So, I would never go out into a corn maze, ever. Do you go to corn mazes? Have you been to a corn maze?
No,
we're in California, so we're not like in
no.
Nebraska where it's common, but still.
Yeah, I don't know where a corn maze would be.
Yeah, I haven't fucking come across one.
I haven't done that
in recent year. Well, that's going to wrap up episode 409. We want to thank you guys, as always, for joining us on this episode to look back at some of the newest movies out there and trailers. As always, you can hear our past episodes on iTunes, Spotify, and our entire catalog is available on MovieMavericks.com if you want to check it out. Speaking for Trevor Anderson, I am Jason Rugard, and we are the Movie Mavericks.
Oh my, another magnificent episode has come to an end. If you're craving more, set your destination to moviemavericks.com, Warp 9. Engage!